plunge, go do hot bath, go do, and eventually that doesn't work. Like go do more exercise, go do CrossFit, run faster, run longer.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Are we live?
We are live. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
Got on my overalls and my green for the look of the Irish.
I got my blue for the luck of somebody else.
The luck of somebody else. The luck of the Irish.
I'm
Today
not
is St. Patty's Day
I'm
and
not a
all of it.
big birthday guy. I'm not a big like fan of all these days. There's
Neither.
seems to be like a day for everything. But it is my sister's birthday.
Which one?
Lynn. My
Shalyn.
eldest
Happy
sister. Happy
birthday,
birthday, Shalyn.
Shalyn. Oh, that's wonderful.
He is
Should we say her age?
no. No, that would be
If
just
you're a good man, you won't do that, right?
and it
Women don't
doesn't
like
matter.
that.
She's um I would say she's a young, very young soul.
Oh my
Very
gosh.
young soul, yeah.
Yeah, she is a
Mm.
very young soul.
I was looking
Absolutely.
at a video of anyways, it's like nothing. Okay, good.
Ah, so today, we want to talk to you about Eve's event. So on March 22nd, Eve is going to do another event called Beyond the Noise.
Yes, beyond the noise.
Last time it was Beyond Doubts,
Yes.
and this time it is Beyond the Noise. And it's so interesting for me because the noise is real for me.
What do you mean?
Well, the noise in my head, the messages that I make up for myself. So I started being in a big practice, February of 2020 of a meditation practice, thanks to Baron Baptiste. Um, and it was something that I did not realize that I could do because I could never quiet my mind. And I didn't
Right.
realize that meditation wasn't about quieting your mind at
No,
all.
it's not.
Um, but it is having some
So-
control.
no.
For me, it was a bit of having some control.
It's
So
about
Baron Baptiste,
well, hold on. Meditation is about observing the mind, right? And
absolutely.
letting go of control.
Well, he gave me some control practices. So what I loved about it is I didn't have to have my eyes closed. For the very first time, I had somebody tell me that I could actually look at the birds and be in meditation, and that helped me a lot. He gave me the word release. So whenever I'm working on
Let it
that
go.
thing
Yeah.
in my mind, I
Yeah.
can just say release,
Yeah.
and I can say it aloud.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in some kind of weird yogi space, right? With this sing-songy voice.
No, it's like all of these hacks. I'm going to call them hacks. Like, you dim the lights, you put blindfolds on,
Yep.
or you put like, little color lights on the ceiling and you put music. These are all hacks, right? They're all
Hmm.
hacks to help you get there. Because quieting the mind is not it's not an easy task. Most people are afraid to have a quiet mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it's much easier to say I am so busy inside my head than to actually work on that space
It's just the
of
way the mind works, though. Like you try not to think of an elephant.
right. Yeah.
Already like so you get triggered by all sorts of things like
Hmm.
every time I went to Spa, like a great place, Nordic
Oh,
Spa, great place
Uzva,
last week,
one
just
of my
to
favorite
go
places.
there and to relax, and I tried to meditate, and I no way I couldn't, and it was supposed to be quiet, but some people were talking and they were swimming and they're but like I felt that there was an urge to go from the hot like sauna to the cold sauna to the cold bath to the I felt there was kind of a and I couldn't get out of my own head of like I have to do something, right?
Oh,
So we go to Yusfa to get some peace and quiet, but are we really peace and quiet? And most people there were not. They were reading, they were talking, they were doing something. So is it so it's like we're using cold, hot, comfortable to stop the noise because we get triggered. So there's less trigger, but we're still very noisy inside our head. And the practice of meditation is to see that you have a thought, to separate yourself from the thought, to separate yourself from the self, to become not that thought, not that
Hmm.
self that you see. So then you now, if you separate, as soon as you become the observer of the thought, right? You become you have now you have a chance to choose. But before you actually can see that you have a thought, you have no choice.
Oh, I like how you worded
There's
that.
no choice. And
There's no choice.
most people would say, "Oh, that person has a choice." And I have to. I'm going to share a little bit of news here. I lost a friend of mine. She's quite younger than me. Over the weekend, and she lost her life because, and the diagnosis was that she liver failure
Mm,
because she was an alcoholic,
mm.
and and I lost another friend, like, several years ago. He died of a heart attack because he didn't do exercise and he was drinking a lot and he was eating bad food. Now, they knew that that habit was dangerous. They're conscious of it, but they can't stop. And people would say, well, no, they had a choice. And I would say, no, they didn't. They didn't have a choice because they couldn't separate themselves from the thought.
Yeah.
And the fact that we are judging people that are on the street or homeless people or alcoholic people or people that have bad habits, when we're judging them, I would say you can't even stop yourself from judging them, right?
No.
Can you stop yourself from gossiping? I recently left employment because they couldn't stop gossiping. They didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice. They
Yeah.
can't stop gossiping. They can't stop blaming, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have a choice. And so the reason they don't have a choice is they don't know how, right? So we don't have a choice. Like, we're addicted to consumption, we're addicted to painkillers, we're addicted to the drugs, right?
Yep.
There's one of my friends. She's like, she swears that, we shouldn't do drink or we shouldn't take pills and, do drugs. But
Yep.
yet she's addicted to her pills,
Prescription medication
prescription
is, yeah,
medication.
if it's
And she,
doctor
right,
approved, we're okay. Yeah.
right.
You have to be so careful of that.
She
Yeah.
doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we begin to have a choice?
Well, observe the thought
Observe.
and be like, I have a thought. Oh, could I stop myself from eating the chips? Or am I blaming my wife because she bought the chips for me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do I have a choice? Am I trying to get a person to do something or can I just let them be?
Yeah.
Where's my suffering coming from? Where is the suffering coming from? And inherently, so people, why do they come to this event? Like, I did the first one, and most people are coming back and bringing friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the people
So
who
good.
can't talk, who can't come, it's not that they don't want to come, they have a
Other
reason.
engagements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can't. But most people are coming back, I would say a good 80%. And that's why I'm doing it the second one when the people bring friends. And if I ask them why are they coming, the underlying reason they're coming is they know, like every single person knows that you can heal yourself,
Uh,
right?
I'm going to tell you my aura,
Mm,
right? My bio told me every day that I was less stressed. And that stayed with me for a couple weeks.
yeah.
So because I was able to quiet my mind, because I was able to be in observation of what I was thinking. Now, interesting enough, Eve, what I believed would be my stressors, what I believed was going to kind of elevate me as far as anxiety goes, wasn't it at all. When I was in observation of my thoughts, it wasn't what I believed was going to be my, worst case scenario or my, demise kind of thing.
What was it?
They were almost ridiculous thoughts.
Yeah. It's
They were
like something like you made up yourself, you mean?
Oh, completely, completely. And I thought, oh my God, Shelley, you have bigger fish to fry than this. Why are you worrying about those shoes getting muddy? You know what I mean? It was,
So this is where suffering comes from, right?
yeah,
Suffering comes from that. It comes from like the stories we make up in our heads about how is that person going to think, or why is that person doing that, or why is this happening to me, or why is like we have it's all from the outside world, but you have everything you need inside of you already.
yeah,
If you look at why do we want more money. Let's just look about that. We want freedom. We want to be able to choose what we want to do, right?
Yep.
We want abundance to feel enough of a person.
Yep.
That's what we want money for. So so the system is rigged so that it makes you believe that if you work hard, you'll get those feelings. But
No.
I can tell you that more money will not give you those feelings,
No, more
right?
money will definitely not give you
More money
those.
will not give
Yeah,
you those
no. As a
feelings.
matter of fact, I can tell you more money will bring more stress. The
So
bigger house will bring more cleaning.
so I'll tell you the secret to the event so that you don't have to come. It's really simple. It's really I'm not inventing anything here.
So
This
you
is
don't have to come.
so well you can. I would love to see you there. There's only a few
Few
tickets left.
tickets
There's
left.
seven
Yeah.
tickets left actually. And it'll sell out. If you wait till the last minute, last time everybody was panicking
Yeah.
last days, it's gonna sell out. So anyway, so the trick is two things. One is you become the observant of yourself. So you see the thoughts that you're making up about
Mm-hmm.
that you're trying to control something from the outside world, something that you desire or
Yeah.
something that you do not want, right? To happen or something that somebody like you want somebody to see you a certain way. It's all from the outside world.
Yeah.
So you start to see that you're making up stories about this. They may be right, they may be wrong. They're usually amplified quite a bit. They're maybe like, okay, so that's the first step. Once you can become independent, as soon as you be the observer of the thought, well, you're no longer the thought. If I'm looking at a mouse here, I'm looking at this mouse, right? This is a mouse. I'll look at this mouse. Well, I'm not the mouse because I see the mouse. I'm the observer of the mouse. If
Yeah.
you're the observer of the thought, then you're not the creator of the thought. You're not the thoughts. So once you have that, then you say, okay, do I want to feel this way? Is that the way you want to feel? And the people who come here have all reached some sort of pinnacle in their life and say, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Yeah.
And I know I know that it inherently inside of me, I know this, that I can change something in my life.
Yeah.
I know it. I just don't know
Don't know exactly
why
what
and
it is.
how,
Yeah.
right? So that's why they
Exactly.
come.
Yeah.
So once you become this, you separate yourself from the thought. You become the observer. They're no longer your thinking. You're no longer your stories. You're no longer, right? You're no longer the fear. You're no longer the sadness. You're no longer in desire. You become separate from that thought.
Yeah.
Now, then you say, okay, what is it that I want to feel? If I had all the money in the world, if I had all the love in the world, if I had everything that I needed, what would I feel? And when I get that feeling, I said, that's the feeling I'm looking for. Okay.
Hmm.
And that feeling, now you say, have I experienced that feeling? Okay. If you've are past the age of 25, you've experienced every single feeling that ever will ever experience in your life. And then you'll start to have, like, as you get older and older, you'll say, I don't want that feeling anymore. I want that feeling of feeling less than. I don't want that. So you kind of start separating yourself from outside world. But really it's from the inside, right?
It is. I lived it.
Right?
Yeah,
So you become the
absolutely.
observer of
Yeah.
the feeling.
Yep.
Oh, I'm having this feeling. Nobody can make you feel anything. You're having a past experience. You say, oh, I've lived this in the past. How is it that I want to have my future self? And you say, I want to feel free. I want to feel abundant.
Hmm.
And if you want to feel freedom, all right,
Yeah.
then you're starting to feel that inside your body. What happens is you're going to start to make decisions based on that freedom, that way of being. And it doesn't matter. And it's not a boundary setting. It's not you just start to move differently. You start, no, I don't want to do that. I want to spend time with you. You're an asshole. I'm just going to go over here now.
Yeah.
Like it's indifference. It's not boundaries. So those are two things.
Yeah.
You become the observer of the thoughts. You say, this is the way I want to live my life, whatever feeling that is, in whatever action you want. If you look at the big things you want in your life, say, what is the feeling I want to have? And you just say, that's the feeling I want. And then you start moving to it. That's the simple way to look at why meditation works. One,
I,
you can call it manifesting. You
yep.
can call it observing.
Yep.
You can do it with your eyes open. You
Hmm.
could do it at you spa. You could do it while you're talking to someone,
Yep.
right? And it becomes the more you practice it, the less suffering you have.
That's it. That's it.
right?
If you're that type of person that you're constantly feeling stress, like there's a lot of stresses on you in the day, you're having the same thoughts over and over. Most humans have the same thoughts over and over, and you want to change it. This is a place to begin.
But they look different. That's the thing, right? The mind plays a trick on you. You're not even seeing that you've had discussions with people. You've had discussions with people that always say the same thing. The behaviors are the same. They're,
Yeah.
they're most
Yeah.
predictable,
I've had
right?
the same discussions with some of my friends
Right?
for 25
They're
years.
they're predictable.
Absolutely.
So are you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We absolutely
Right?
we all are. I was solidified in my thoughts. I was broken,
Yeah.
right? I came from a broken home. I
Yeah.
came from an abusive place, and I believed that once that happened, there was really there's no fixing that. You are what you are, right? It's unfortunate, but
And my job with you was to change the belief you had about
was
yourself.
to change. Yeah. And I mean, Eve did it in a radical way. He took me to the Ritz-Carlton in Toronto and he bought me a suite for 5 days
Yeah. To change the belief you had about
to
yourself.
change the belief that I had about myself. I didn't believe I was worthy, but you certainly did.
Yeah.
Oh, I get emotional. I get
So
emotional.
that's what I'm doing. What I was doing with you is like I wanted you to be the observer of your thoughts, what you believed about yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, I was
Because
on my knees.
so if you look at it from a leadership point of view, a father, a mother, or even leading your own life,
Yeah.
if you look at your outside world, you got that from basically actions that you took, right?
Most definitely. If I had left the Ritz Carlton and not continued to take the actions, I would have been in the same boat. I would have been convincing people that I'm a broken woman and this is just the way it is,
Yeah.
right? Because that was in my head. That was my belief. I was pretty solid in that. I was 47 years old.
But because you changed the belief you had about yourself,
Yeah.
something changed in your life. You became a CEO,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
And on top of, I mean, so many other
Other
things.
things. I'm
Yeah.
just
So
like,
many other things happen in
yeah,
my life.
right.
But I was able to stop the suffering. I was able to stop the internal dialogue
Right.
that I would not be anything. I was on stage. I was speaking where I would always have been in the shadows. My worthiness did not allow me to be on a stage. And who the heck am I to tell anybody anything? Well, now I understand. Now I understand who I am. There are good days and there are bad days, but I can tell you I'm pretty solid in who I am. And without you sort of paving that path for me, um, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I would have been there, but I've taken some steps.
Don't know.
I continue to take some steps. Yeah, exactly. And I understand that I am the master of my body, my mind, my soul, or I can be the demise
Right.
of my body, my soul, right? And I chose to do something different.
So, so what we're going to talk about is like, why does this work, right? Why is feelings more important than your task or your to-do list?
Mm,
We're going to talk about the science of that. So I'm an electrical engineer.
yep.
I'm a scientist, right? And I understand how phones work, for example, how you communicate from one phone to the other. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about that. The way the phone works is my phone talks to your phone, and the way they communicates, it has to send a wave, right? A wave signal, a carrier wave, we call it.
Yep.
It's a sine wave. It goes up and down. You have to send a signal and say, "Hey, I'm Eve. I'm a phone. Can I talk to you?" And it kind of syncs up. So the frequencies kind of sync up and say, yeah, we can talk to one another. And then on top of the wave, I send them a message. Hey, Shelley, this is for you. Okay. So the carrier frequency, if you want to be able to talk to what you want to talk to in your body, is your heart, your feeling.
Yeah.
Now, there is lots of science on this that'll tell you that when you have a coherent heart, in other words, that your rhythm of your heart is beating regularly, which is also measured through the HRV. Okay.
Yep.
When you're measuring that and you have a coherent heart, you're sending out a signal up to 3 feet around you.
Yeah.
That's the carrying wave. So that is your belief you have about yourself. If you believe that you are love, if you believe that you are free, if you believe that you have abundance, you're carrying that message, that magnetic, electromagnetic signal outside, right? It's like the way human beings communicate. I can feel that when you walk into a room.
Yeah,
Now, how does that look? Well, you've experienced people that walk into a room and they say, well, there's something different about that person.
for
It's the
sure.
electromagnetic field.
Yeah,
Now, if you take on and you say, what I want from that field is this task. I want to be able to be a CEO. I want to be able to have Beyond the Noise events. I want to be a speaker. That's what I want. I want it like that. So you send a message to that. Well, people will receive it. They'll start to believe it, right?
yes.
So that's the way you change your life.
Yeah.
And it's science. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about like people say, are you a Buddhist? I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a guru. I'm a scientist, right? So I look at science and so I'm science back. So meditation helps you get rid or separate yourself from the feeling that you can see, oh, that's what I really believe about myself. That's the feeling I'm getting over and over and over again. So that's what I'm feeling,
Yeah.
right? So if you can rise above the noise and say, ah, I see the noise, then you can choose and say, I want this feeling of whatever. Maybe it's about excitement in your life. I want to be excited. I want to have fun and movement. That's health, right? Fun and movement, exciting and living is having a meaningful life. If you want these feelings and you put that in your body and say, this is what my heart wants to feel, and you start practicing that, I guarantee you 100% money back guarantee.
Yeah.
Within a practice of 6 months to a year, you will have abundance, you will have love, you will have the feeling that you're looking for inside your life. And actually, it works faster than that.
It does actually work faster than that. So you've all experienced people that walk in the room that just dim everybody's light. Everybody has always experienced the people that come into this space and you're exhausted immediately. But you've also experienced somebody walking into the room and you get energy. So
Mm.
that is something that we've worked at Dovico for a really long time. And we had people that would come into our space to continue to come into our space, even though we're actually not here and present as much, and say, wow, I feel something
There's
here.
energy.
It is the energy. You always want to have, and it's not fake energy. It's not the energy is about you what Eve is just talking about. It's the frequency in which you show up as. So we can all choose to show up in a little bit better
Yeah.
of a space. And that's why here at Dovico that we say, if you're not feeling it, don't come here.
No, it's your energy. Like it doesn't matter if you're sick. Like sick, if you're like stuck in your suffering, you can't get out of blame. You can't get out of gossiping.
Yeah.
You can't get out of, oh, poor me. You can't get out of like, oh, I'm described by this label. What happens in a changing environment, you can't change.
Yeah.
But once you can start seeing the observer of your thoughts, and you say, I'm not the CEO. I'm not, I'm different. I'm not the yogi. I'm not the owner. I'm not attached to the things that I have.
Yeah.
If you can separate yourself from those things, what happens is you have a possibility to be anyone, to have anything. So how does that work inside of a company like Dovico? Well, when we're becoming malleable and say, okay, we're going this way, if you're attached to, no, I have to do it this way in order for it to work, you are blind. You cannot see the possibilities.
You can't even be a listener.
No.
Truly, you can't be a listener. So I always say to everybody, wait a minute, I can be an amazing follower. If you have an idea and
Yeah.
you want to lead, I tell you, I will follow you to the nth degree, right? I will be there for you. It doesn't, the title does not make you.
No.
It's the energy that you bring into the space. Eve talked about HRV. It means heart rate variable. And we watch it closely with our aura ring. And the thing is if you have the ability to have a high HRV, you absolutely know you're in an amazing space.
Yeah.
Not all of us are able to get there all the time. I know my heart rate variable is usually very, very low.
And it's an indicator, right?
It's an
Yeah.
absolute indicator. But this morning I had a sleep score of 58. which is horrific. I never have anything that low unless I'm traveling. And my HRV was at 42, which is fairly decent, a fairly decent HRV. So I can tell you the one thing that I had said to myself all week is that I was going to be um, high energy. I was going to make sure that I am not allowing anything into my space that is going to take me out. You know, I have all kinds of reasons for that, but I think that it's super important that we get up close and personal to our feelings and not just go through this life in a drift space kind of thing. So most of us do. We don't actually think about how we're feeling and how we're coming into that space. We just rawr, we come into that space. I would love for you all to just take a breath before any door frame you walk through
Hmm.
and make sure that you are in the right space. See, you can suck the life out of people and you have no idea of why everybody is exhausted in that space. Or you can choose to take a breath and make sure that you are in a good space. So when you put yourself out there to be in a room with other human beings, that you are that light. See, the thing is there could be darkness in the room, and you may feel dark before you walk through that door frame. But when you take the breath of life, we all have that option, and you decide that you're going to bring love into that space, you will shine so bright that everybody will see you. I know that I am fortunate enough that when I walk through the grocery store, when even I were just at the coffee shop, I mean, people come in, they make eye contact, you
Yeah.
know, and even this morning, he was like, who's that? I'm like, I don't know. But people make eye contact with us because Eve and I are, our energy is at such a high level, such a beautiful frequency that anybody that comes into that space, um, wants to be part of that space. And that's a way I want to lead my life.
So yeah, that's a great testimonial. And then I kind of like, what will you remember at the end of your life? You will remember how you felt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You
not going
will
to be the words. You're not going to remember the
so
words.
most people remember how people made them feel,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to change that. People can't make you feel anything.
No.
You will remember how you felt about yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You will remember. So if you do something as simple as like you record your voice or you do a recording of your face or you take a picture of yourself and you say, I don't like myself. Or you look at yourself in the mirror, or you did something yesterday and say, she said, I didn't like how I felt. And you're gonna start saying, oh, I didn't like it like I felt, but it's that other person's fault. It's because I didn't have money, or it's because I was sick, or it's because of
Yeah.
no, that feeling is what you're gonna remember.
Yes.
So can you change the feeling that you have about yourself? That's the question.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you will remember how you felt. And if you live every single day with that choice of saying, I want to feel different. I want to be in that practice of feeling different every single day. Well, you'll never be in suffering because again,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. You know, and I got a little testimonial, if I
you're gonna
can say it
be
without
emotional.
crying. Oh, I'm emotional. I had very little sleep. So I got to give Eve's dad, Eve and Diane's dad,
Mm,
and Charlene and Nicole and Pierre a hug 24 hours before he passed away.
that's beautiful.
The man leaned in, grabbed me. I mean, you know, with a lot of strength. And he said, Shelley, I always talk to you about money in the bank. I always told you how much money you needed to have in the bank to run a company. But he said, I want you to forget all that. I want to let you know how every time I walked into the company, how it made me feel. He talked about his feelings, how he felt when he walked into the company. It wasn't about the money anymore. It wasn't about how much money we had in the bank. It was about, he was telling me what we were doing by making sure that people felt worthwhile, that people felt valued was way more important than the cash.
So if you can, this is so true, right? And he,
Well, it was
and
that's a true
and it's
story,
kind of
man.
funny because that wasn't my dad for
No,
most of his life, right? For my
no.
dad, most of his life was like, you got to get the cash in the business. You got to get the cash in the business.
He
Yeah,
talked to
yeah,
when he
like
talked
that.
to me, anytime he went in, he talked to me about money.
Yeah. And so
He
at
always
the end,
hugged me though.
so he always like he was a kind, very kind
Oh,
man, very loving,
kindest,
and he loved me.
kindest.
I remember that message when you told me that, and
Oh,
he was right. At the end of the day, it's the feeling that you have about yourself that matters the most. So how it works in the body is if you start to believe that you are loved. You start to believe that you are free. You start to see that you're free to choose. You're free to decide. You're free to go beyond your emotions. If you start to be indifferent to the outside world, how people see you, what things you have, what you dress you have, like if you start to do that, what happens is your heart and your brain start to be coherent, and your HRV is going to go up.
yeah,
And what happens with that, as from a heart perspective, is your heart starts to beat regularly. Now, your heart's very important because it means that the message that you believe in your head and your heart, what's inside of you,
are aligned.
are aligned,
Yeah,
right? So when that beating of the heart is vibrant and it's coherent,
yeah,
right? You not only emit an electromagnetic wave, you also start to pump blood regularly in your body. You're
yeah,
aligned. Your body is healing. Well, then, like movement is easier, health is easier, things are easier because you're not in suffering.
yeah,
That's the way it works,
absolutely.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
what a beautiful message.
Now, I think I saw Dion, my sister, she put the link in there. I saw
He did.
Everbright.
The
Yeah.
link is in the comments for sure. So Barbara, thank you for being here. Dion and Trent and Felicia, Lori's always been a faithful viewer of ours. So I want to thank you guys so much for being here with us this morning. I hope that you are one of those people who are going to get the last tickets because I tell you, I spend a lot of time with Eve, and every time I go to one of these events, I come away with a little more magic. And that's how I love to explain it because um, the magic is within us all,
Mhm.
and we just have to tap into it. Being happier, being satisfied, being love, like Eve said, is something that you can be.
Yeah, you don't have to go anywhere.
You don't have to go. Yeah, you do not
You don't
have
have
to
to
go
be
anywhere.
anyone. You don't have to have
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah. And the
right?
burden that comes off you when you do not have to be anyone, when I no longer had to be the CEO,
Mm.
oh, the burden was released and I can just be Shelley. And it was magical, like I say. So here we are at the end of our segment. Again, I love Mondays,
Me too.
right?
Yeah.
I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And this is Mindset Monday. Mwah. I love you. Get your workout in. And how are you?